Hello everyone and welcome to the return of race reaction. Now, Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton. That was a race to watch. If you're a Max Verstappen fan, then I would suggest that your heart is still racing after that, because as soon as Verstappen had that puncture and retired from the race, every fan of Verstappen must have thought, our title fight, there's going to be a big gap in the title fight. But as the result says it, Lewis never scored a point after the race result, which means that he messed up going into the first turn of the restart. So they basically, Max Verstappen caused the red flag. They all lined up in the pits. Then Lewis changed his front wing because there was like a hole in Lewis's front wing. And then, obviously, they had a restart on the grid. So, as you saw the restart, Lewis absolute boiling hot brakes. You could tell by the amount of smoke Lewis has had off the brakes. So, race restart and just a little squeeze. The Red Bull of Sergio Perez to Lewis Hamilton put him a little bit under pressure. Then Lewis somehow pressed something on his steering wheel that caused him to lock up at the first turn and went into that escape road, meaning that he was stone dead last. And Perez got all the points for Red Bull Racing, so that is fantastic, of course, for Red Bull Racing. And yeah, it was a great race overall. And so, with that said, let's talk about the next subject, and that is Pirelli in the spotlight, because throughout that race, Red Bull were 1 and 2 comfortably. But out of nowhere, the race got a bit spiced up because Lance Stroll, he was having a alright race on his own, went the longest on the hardest tyre. Then a puncher came out of nowhere and punctured his race out. Crashed on the main straight, and that got everyone thinking of what would happen to the front three. Now, eventually, Verstappen had the same issue. A right rear tyre burst out of the rim of the tyre, and that cost Verstappen the race win and potentially a 1-2 for Red Bull Racing. So Pirelli are desperately need to know what could have happened, because Red Bull are saying it came out of nowhere. They never had any inkling or anything about the tyre going off. So it is firmly in the on the front door of Pirelli, and we'll have to see what they have to come up with either later today or maybe in the coming days. But if that happens again next race, things would be going bad to worse for the tyres' sake. So yeah, the tyres are terrible the tyres were alright up until the punches, of course. So I don't know, it could be because they went long on that hard tyre, I don't know. But what we do know is that it cost Verstappen the race win. So yeah. That is the tyre talk for today's reaction. The next one is how poorly Mercedes' race went, and Bottas P10, Lewis P16. Now we know about Lewis, but Bottas not P10. He was like P13. Never scored a point. Never even looked like doing anything throughout that race. I mean, this weekend started badly when his flight was delayed and all that, and he got kept up at an airport. But overall, I reckon this weekend is a complete write-off for Bottas. I reckon throughout that race, he was just thinking, what should I have for tea? Because his race went bad to worse when the yellow and red flag came out. He was 14th. He gained 2 places, I think. But before that, he was nearly last. He was, and he was lucky not to get overtook by, I think it was the Williams of George Russell. So yeah, hopefully he can bounce back next race. And yeah, so hopefully that will happen for him. Next step we talk about is how great the race actually was. Now the race itself started really good. Middle bit was getting to that stalemate point. Obviously 2 Red Bulls out in front. Lewis couldn't do anything in that race. He had to just settle for third. And yeah, so hopefully hopefully Mercedes can sort their own issues out. But the problem is for Red Bull is that there's no more street circuits coming up because Singapore's been cancelled and the Canadian Grand Prix got cancelled. So it's going to be end to end to the end of the races, and I cannot wait to see what delivers next time. But that is me. That is the race reaction for today. Thank you for watching. My name is Sam ReaN, and this has been the Baku Grand Prix.